In April 1984, a man walking along a rural North Idaho road was picked up by two strangers and taken into the woods. Within minutes, a rope was around his neck and draped over a tree branch. Deputies would later be told it was a citizen's arrest, not an attempted lynching. What followed was a year of court hearings, disappearances, psychiatric questions, and a community divided over what really happened to Keith Gilmore.
This sounds very wild already.
Yes. And I debated whether to use that word lynching or not, just to let you know, these are all white men, every single one of them. But the reason I use that is because the newspapers were using that word a lot. Very sensational case.
Well, and I mean, I can definitely look this up, but technically, if a group of people tries to hang another people,
it's still a lynching.
Style,
I know it's very related to racism, but that's not where we're going here. So I just wanted to clarify: these are all white people.
Yeah,
and there's the newspapers though were loving.
They were
that
selling
word.
the papers.
They were loving that word.
They were selling some papers. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Lethal Library. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Dani.
And we're back to tell you yet another true crime tale directly out of Idaho. Dani, you did have some things you wanted to update on.
Oh, yes. First of all, let me just tell you, Eric Hall died.
Him.
We covered him in episode 8. He died in prison this last week. So
for those that don't know, so this was the man that murdered a flight attendant on the Greenbelt in Boise, and it was a crazy case. There was helicopters. There was someone that tried to do faked saying that they were also attacked. It was a crazy story.
He also killed another woman.
He did.
And before he was finally caught and convicted. So anyways, he was a bad man. So he's dead at the age of 54. Bye. So he could have rotted longer, but no, just boom.
Yeah. Gone get.
But let me tell you stuff. So I would like to say, oh yes, ask me about anything. I could tell you what episode. No, I don't. We are 50 episodes deep and I can't remember where we did what episode. So I'm like, I'm just going to go look on my Apple Podcast feed and just go see what one it was. I know it was a really early one. And I was scrolling through and guess what?
What?
We only had 30 episodes in our feed. And I was like, what the fuck?
Excuse me?
So we had a little setting on our RSS feed that, because we are not professionals, working on it, that was only limiting us to our latest 30 episodes. So for all of our listeners out there who haven't been with us from the beginning, there's a whole nother set of episodes out there if you're not aware.
Binge away. I love a good binge.
Yeah. So it's fixed now. So they'll all show up on your Spotify and everywhere
wherever you listen.
Wherever you listen, because we just
this.
throw it out in the world. So
thought that I noticed it and I thought that my Spotify was just like needed updated or something, because I had Dani check and I swear it let her see ones that were farther back. So I was like, oh, I probably just got to uninstall and reinstall. But I've already listened to those. So I didn't need to see those ones. But yeah, so now they're all available. I'm not sure why that was the default setting, because why wouldn't you want people to have access to all of your episodes?
Well, because most podcasters, as I've learned today, when I tried to figure out what the hell was going on, I asked chat, like, why is only this many showing up? And it's like, oh, it's a setting. But then chat did say, most people don't make it past 10 episodes and we're on 50. So anyways,
you know what? Gotta give ourselves a pat on the back.
I'm going to put that one in my pocket. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, we're over 50 now. So just it's been a crazy, crazy ride, and I've loved it.
It's been a good time. So just want to let you know, little fun fact there.
Yeah, tell your friends if they weren't able to see them. And listen, if you're listening now and going back, we had some different audio. We don't know what we're doing, so the audio may not be as good. The editing may be a little choppier.
We
were
might
learning.
talk a little faster.
We are learning. So
it's getting better.
I think that if someone's never heard our first episodes and goes back, they're gonna be like, oh wow, yeah. There's been some improvement here.
You know. So we growing and learning as we go.
Mm-hmm. So cheers and go enjoy 20 episodes you may not have seen if you're newer.
Woo! Yeah.
What a treat. I would love for one of my favorite podcasts to be like 20 episode dump.
Boom. So you got that. I will say Creech and Row are the audio is not as good as I would like it to be, but those are some crazy stories.
Very good stories.
And a lot to them. I think Creech was
almost 3. It was like 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to go over to really thoroughly cover him.
And also just in case you didn't know who Creech is, he had a botched execution here in Idaho. It's just such a shit show. And that's really what kind of, you hear us talk a lot about Idaho's death penalty and how we feel about it because it's just such a mess. They have done things so wrong for so long. And that really kind of stemmed our attitude just watching this happen with Creech.
Absolutely did.
So anyways, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into this story.
Right.
I'm excited.
Sources used in today's episode are the Coeur d'Alene Press, Bonner County Daily Bee, the Kellogg Evening News, the Idaho Statesman, That Bitch, and the Times News.
All right, let's go.
And I'm going to tell you, the Times News has been good to me for Eastern Idaho.
Really?
Yeah, it has been. This didn't happen in Eastern Idaho, just from my past research. So I'm like, she deserves a nod. I'm just giving her an extra nod.
Okay, thanks, girl.
In early April 1984, Keith Gilmore, a 36-year-old resident of Fountain Valley, California, was staying with his parents, James and Monica Gilmore, at their home in Harrison while visiting Northern Idaho. Keith had been diagnosed as schizophrenic and had a history of mental illness. And he was actually living in a home down there. I hate group home, but yeah, it was a group home. But he had some independence and he was living down there. His parents had just recently moved to Northern Idaho. They're like, hey, son, come up for a visit. It's beautiful. And Northern Idaho is beautiful.
Yes, it really
Even
is.
the Kardashians think so.
The Kardashians.
The Kardashians. Sit down. I'm getting a divorce.
Oh, my God. Can we let it take a minute, guys? Let it sink in. What?
Okay.
Get on out of here.
Focus. While Keith was up here, he liked to take walks along the rural roads near Lake Coeur d'Alene because it is gorge.
Oh, yeah. So pretty.
Yeah. Get out there. Go see some nature. It's probably a lot different than California.
Oh, yeah.
So, on the afternoon of April 7th, Keith was walking along a rural road near a bridge on Highway 97 where people were out. There's kids out there. There were people fishing, but the kids were fishing too. While walking, he fell and he got a bloody lip.
Oh.
And he was like, oh my God. He tried to get help. So he was kind of down on this kind of hill, right?
Sure.
He fell. So he walked up and back up to the main road. He's like, I need to get this cleaned up. Joe and Linda Brownson, and I'm going to probably say that wrong so many times. It is Brownson, and I want to say Bronson. It's Brownson. Noticed Keith walking near the bridge area. After he left the area, they found a note where he'd been walking.
A note?
A note. The note contained the words sex, lust, angels, joy, and Satan.
Interesting.
Along with biblical quotations. The Brownsons went to their local bar and spoke with Roger McDonald, age 44, and Joseph Sanchez, age 32. While having a few beers, they told McDonald and Sanchez about the note and the man who dropped it.
Uh-oh.
After hearing about the note, McDonald and Sanchez decided to look for Keith.
I'm sorry, you've had too many drinks. We're looking for someone based on a random note. Come on.
Later that afternoon, McDonald, Sanchez, and Brownson drove along. Look, Brownson's in on it. He's like, let's go.
Find a hobby. This is weird.
Maybe too many bears. They drove along a rural road near Harrison where they saw Keith walking. Because that's what
As
he
he
was.
was. That's what he does. Yeah.
When they pulled over, Keith asked the men for a ride because he had a bloody lip.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to go get it cleaned up. McDonald got out of the pickup truck carrying a rifle and accused Keith of being a child molester.
Wow. We went 0 to 100. What's happening here? This is wild.
Keith appeared unkempt with messy hair, several days of a beard growth, and he wore unusual clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Keith climbed into the back of the pickup truck.
Oh my gosh.
After Keith got in the pickup truck, Joe Brownson left to go contact authorities. Yes.
And y'all are probably drunk driving. Hey, come get this child molester that we picked up drunk driving.
Brownson said that after becoming concerned about Keith's behavior, he drove away to some of the sheriff's deputies because they started questioning this guy, right?
Thinking they can just interrogate someone.
And they do.
Was there maybe there was some other rumor? I have to imagine there had to have been some rumor about Keith or something else than just...
No, he was just there visiting, so...
What the heck?
And he did look off.
Sure.
Right?
I think every town has the person who walks around and is looking weird. I know the one from Nampa. I can picture him in my head right now.
Yeah. But he was new to the area. He hadn't been walking
so there
around.
wouldn't have been a lore about him.
No.
Okay.
During the drive, Keith was giving the men inconsistent answers about where he was going, saying at different times that he was headed to a motel, that he was headed to Coeur d'Alene, or back to California. He both admitted and denied writing the note that had been found near the bridge because they're like, hey, they think they're police officers now.
This is crazy.
And he had lifted his shirt kind of up. I don't know if he was sweating or whatever, but it was cold out and it was raining and he was just acting very strange.
Okay.
So these guys decided to drive Keith to East Point Road, a wooded area south of Harrison. McDonald told Keith he was under citizen's arrest.
Oh my gosh.
Keith tried to climb out of the truck and was ordered back in. They drove a little further and stopped again. And Keith was led off the road and into the woods. Keith said he stumbled and fell. Again, he'd already fallen once today. Shoe problem, maybe. I don't know. And so he fell again. And he believed at this point that he was going to die.
Oh my gosh.
And so he got on his knees to pray. These guys have a gun.
Yeah. And
They're hauling you out to the woods.
They've kidnapped him. They're taking him to a remote location. Never go to the second location. But yeah, no. And it sounds like I can see there being mental illness issues because it sounds like he's also very compliant. Thinking that he has to listen to these people.
Exactly. He's not trying to ruffle any feathers.
No. This is so weird.
Sanchez took a loaded .22 caliber rifle and stood nearby while McDonald followed carrying a rope. About 100 feet off the road, McDonald placed the rope around Keith's neck and threw the other end over a tree branch.
I cannot believe how quickly this has escalated. Just off the suspicion, and he hasn't admitted to anything. They haven't found anything. They're like...
Can I just say, though, the note did say lust and sex. And with biblical... That all this stuff is all talked about in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just... Anyways, we'll get there, but...
Yeah, well, and I mean, if it didn't say anything about kids or anything, that's just... Yeah, it's crazy that a note like that was even that triggering. I mean, what was it called? Satanic Panic. It seems kind of like that same type of, oh my gosh, over
You look
nothing.
weird, and you said the word lust and sex. You must be.
Yeah. A child molester? What?
Yeah. So McDonald actually put the rope around his neck, threw it over the tree. The rope was drawn tight. Oh my God. Keith said he was grasping for air and believed he was going to die. I would too. Keith, same.
Yeah, it seems pretty serious at this point, not just a joke or a threat. Yeah.
He said the rope remained tight for several minutes. He said he offered the men all of his money if they would kill him mercifully.
Oh, so that's how serious this is. Like, he's of the belief he's dying now, but at least if I'm going to die, don't make it painful. Wow.
He said, quote, I offered them all my money if they would kill me mercifully, but they wouldn't take my money.
Just putting myself in his shoes I just cannot even imagine.
Kootenai County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the wooded area because we got Brownson's, right? Deputy J, here I fucking go. Homosinski?
That's the closest I can imagine.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah. We're gonna count that as a win.
Arrived and found Keith with a rope looped around his neck and strung over the fucking tree branch.
Imagine that as a cop, like, hey, wait, whoa. What are you guys doing out here? What am I? That's a weird call.
It's a
not
weird call.
not what you would expect, right? I don't think many cops would be expecting that.
Komosinski reported that Keith appeared to be on his tiptoes.
Yeah, so the gasping for air and stuff sounds like was probably accurate to what was happening.
Deputies removed the rope and took Keith into custody. He was transported for medical treatment and treated for cuts, bruises, and a sore throat. Because remember, he'd fell a couple of times. Keith said deputies arrived just in time.
Sounds like it. Yeah, if you're begging for someone you're not begging for someone to not kill you. You're so convinced that you're going to be killed that you're asking them to do it nicely.
Quickly, please.
Yeah. Wow.
Both men were arrested and booked into the Kootenai County Jail. So, McDonald's and Sanchez, the deputies.
They're like, you can't do that.
Bro.
Sorry, bud. Can't do that. Got to take you in.
They were charged with attempted homicide.
I mean, because what else is it? On the tippy toes? This isn't just like threatening or trying to I'm not saying that it's right, but I could imagine, someone trying to make someone feel like their life's in danger just to get answers out of them. But it seems like they had their mind made up.
And poor Keith really thought their mind was made up.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Within days, Kootenai County Prosecutor Glenn Walker reviewed the case and reduced the charges to aggravated battery.
Prosecutors got to try to decide what they can win.
A preliminary hearing was scheduled before First District Magistrate Craig Kosonen. Okay. Kosonen. Kosonen. I like that better.
Ring to it.
It does. Keith returned to his parents' home in Harrison after receiving medical care, and the case proceeded towards its first court hearing. The preliminary hearing in the case was held later in April 1984. Roger McDonald and Joseph Sanchez appeared with their attorneys, Eugene Morano and John Luster. Prosecutors presented evidence related to the April 7th incident, including testimony about Keith being detained in a wooded area with a rope placed around his neck.
Yeah, pretty good facts.
Can we
here.
talk about this, please?
I love that the attorney's name is Luster.
Yeah.
Is he a child molester? Take him to the woods immediately.
Get the rope. During the hearing, McDonald testified that he and Sanchez had detained Keith because they believed he posed a danger to children. He said they intended to hold him until sheriff's deputies arrived and did not intend to harm him.
We were just holding him with the rope around his neck so he couldn't get away. Ever put a dog on a leash? Is that illegal now? Am I lynching my dog? I'm being facetious and making fun of how stupid. We were just restraining him by the neck over with the rope over a tree. Like, is that not how you restrain people? Oh my God.
Casonan ruled that the defendants had been justified under the circumstances and that the evidence did not establish that Keith had a well-founded fear required to support an aggravated assault charge.
What?
He dismissed the case.
So you can just snatch up anyone off the street because you feel like they look like a child molester, put a noose around their neck and tighten it so that they think that they're dying?
Kill me mercifully.
Like, this is news to me that's okay to do that. I thought this was America. No, but like, seriously, what?
The fuck?
Oh.
Prosecutor Glenn Walker said he disagreed with that ruling and intended to refile the charges. Keith's parents expressed anger and disbelief. They were pissed. Monica Gilmore said the men had accused her son of not only being a child molester based on a freaking note
that does not say anything about children at all.
And James Gilmore said he could not understand how the court had reached its decision.
Like, we don't know what the hell's going on over here.
Same, James. Same.
Yeah.
Walker refiled aggravated assault charges within weeks, and a second preliminary hearing was scheduled. Again, before
Casonan.
Thank you.
And it goes to the same judge?
Yeah. Before that hearing could take place, Keith failed to appear in court. He's their main guy.
And you got to be there.
Keith left his parents' home in Harrison without notice. His parents reported him missing. James told authorities that Keith sometimes hallucinated and heard voices, and that he feared his son might be dead or seriously ill. Law enforcement agencies issued bulletins to the surrounding states looking for Keith.
Right.
And the court proceedings were postponed. After charges were refiled, Keith left North Idaho and traveled back to California, where his home is.
Mm-hmm.
When Keith didn't show up at the airport in California, his friends called Keith's parents.
Where's our friend?
His parents reported him missing. Law enforcement agencies issued bulletins to the surrounding states. Keith was located, and his father said Keith boarded a flight here in Idaho, but missed a connecting plane after losing his airline ticket. Unable to continue the trip, Keith just rented a motel room and remained out of contact for a period of time.
And this is before cell phone, so you're just out there doing your thing.
There's some mental illness.
Yeah.
And he was just tired.
He was like, all right.
I can't find my ticket. I'm tired. I'm just going to go get a room. Court proceedings were postponed while authorities and family members attempted to locate him. And more hearings were rescheduled. So it's like we can't find our main guy. When the second preliminary hearing was eventually held, Casonan again ruled that the defendants had gone too far, but had not committed a criminal act.
You've got to be shitting me.
He said Keith's fear was not well-founded under Idaho law and dismissed the charges a second time.
I want him to write a dissertation about this so I can understand how begging someone to kill you mercifully, it's not even in your mind that you will live. You know you're going to die. And so you're asking for them to please kill you in a kind way. Please. What? That's not a founded fear?
He said the defendants could not be guilty of attempting to hang Keith because they had summoned law enforcement.
No, one of them summoned law enforcement. The other two
had a rope around his neck over a tree branch.
They were getting on down.
He again suggested that Keith could pursue civil remedies.
Oh my God. Which we know is not easy or cheap.
Keith's parents again criticized the ruling.
Yeah.
Monica said the court had accepted the defendant's version of events. James said he believed the judge had made a mistake.
Do they know him or something? I know this is a smaller, it feels like this is feeling like a good old boy vibe or something.
It kind of does, a little Murdoch-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Walker said he would again study the transcripts and consider further action. Like, he's trying to get these guys prosecuted.
Yeah.
He refiled aggravated assault charges for a third time and saw a different magistrate.
Nice.
So remember, kids, the difference between a judge and a magistrate.
Refresh us.
The magistrate usually is making very smaller decisions. You don't even have to, I don't even think you have to have a law degree to be a magistrate. Mm. So I feel like on this level, and judges like do the really important stuff. But I feel like this is an important part of this. I don't know why it's in front of a magistrate. Anyway.
This has all been very confusing so far because if you're saying to someone that it's not a crime, so you're telling me anyone can just go snatch someone off the street
as long as you're going to go call the cops after you do it. That's what they're saying.
Why didn't they just drive him to the police department if they really felt that way? Because the one guy went to get them, but then the rest escalated.
With a gun and a rope and a tree.
No, you're telling people that this is okay to do.
As the case continued on, Keith resurfaced briefly in North Idaho. Shortly afterward, he left again. He traveled to Washington State, spending his time in Seattle and Yakima. While in Yakima, he was jailed for failing to pay for meals.
Oh, Keith.
After his release, he returned to North Idaho and ordered a meal at a Coeur d'Alene restaurant, asking employees to call his parents so they could pay the bill.
Oh.
Detective Earl Winan said Keith was reunited with his family. So
he needs a little help.
Guess who's back? Keith is back. And another hearing was scheduled. Before it could be held, Keith disappeared again.
Mr. Worldwide. He's just on his traveling around.
Keith had voluntarily admitted himself to Pinecrest Hospital for psychiatric treatment. During an exercise period, he just walked away from the facility. He was later found hitchhiking along Interstate 90.
He's just a wanderer, sounds like.
Oh, he was home within hours, but still.
Yeah.
He was like, I just want to go for a walk. Thanks, guys. Meanwhile, the case moved through a series of judicial reassignments. Magistrate Craig Kassonen disqualified himself for the third time. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, because, buddy, and we talked about this, we had a little break, but judges don't like to hear that they're wrong. That's their literal job, is to judge and judge correctly. And so even if more evidence was presented, I think most judges would be reluctant to be like, oh, yeah, my bad. They're supposed to be the experts.
And I'm telling you, the prosecutor Walker, this is a small county.
He's working hard.
The cojones that he had to refile in front of that same magistrate, he was doing the damn thing, because that can, I don't care what they say.
That can affect your career
so much.
For years.
And now he said, boom, here's a third fucking try.
And because a judge is not.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have really just researched where his career went. But anyway, yeah. I bet you there were some fireworks going on.
I bet
professionally.
The tea was hot in the office. Yeah.
The case was reassigned to Magistrate John Ramstead, who was later disqualified at the request of a defense attorney. Magistrate A.H. Parasot was assigned and later disqualified. Magistrate Paul McCabe, newly appointed to the bench, was also disqualified.
Why is everyone being disqualified? That's why
I couldn't figure it out. I was so pissed.
There's got to be probably a personal something.
Yeah,
that's usually
it's a small county, so it's probably maybe
conflict of interest.
Worked with the defendants before, worked for the defendants, or who knows?
Some connection.
There's some connection there, and The papers not be giving me everything I need.
No, we need an insider. This was so long ago, though.
We need the money to get the insider. Doing the best I can. I was really curious, but it's a whole fucking thing. Wish I knew why. Newspaper accounts described the situation as a magistrate merry-go-round.
That's a catchy headline, but also true.
The case was eventually reassigned to Magistrate Quentin Hardin of Bonners Ferry.
Finally found one.
As hearings were rescheduled before Hardin, Keith left the area yet again.
He's just out doing his thing.
He traveled to Sheridan, Wyoming, Mr. Worldwide,
Yeah.
where he telephoned his parents from a police department and asked for money. James Gilmore said he sent funds to his son so he could return home. Look, these poor parents.
Well, and he's a fully formed adult, so you can't restrain him with a rope around his neck.
Can't lock him in his room. But still, they're just like, what? I mean, just the soul crushing. And especially if they're not making good choices.
Right.
Or leaving without money.
Mm-hmm. You're like, Keith, we talked
It's
about
like,
this.
yeah, the one time I couldn't pay for my meals, so they took me to jail.
Keith, we talked about this.
By that point, prosecutors warned the court that the case could not continue indefinitely without the state's primary witness. Deputy Prosecutor Peter Erblin said the next hearing would proceed whether Keith was there or not.
Okay.
They're like, if he's not here, I can't tell you how this is going to go.
But we're moving on.
And they said, really, they don't have a case unless they have Keith.
Yeah, he's got to be there to participate.
But Keith rallied and he returned to Northern Idaho before the scheduled hearing.
Good job, Keith.
The second preliminary hearing was held before Hardin in the late summer of 1984. Prosecutors again presented evidence related to the April 7th incident. Keith appeared and he testified this time. So now we got him in front of a judge. Or magistrate. He described being taken to East Point Road, led into the woods, and having a rope placed around his neck. He testified that he believed he was going to die and that he offered the men his money if they would kill him mercifully.
Which is wild.
McDonald testified that Keith's behavior near where the children were fishing and the note that had been found caused concern. Bro, you were not even there. You were drinking beers at the local tavern.
Well, and even if you were there, finding the note there, and what behavior? I don't hear anyone else being like, oh gosh, she was chasing kids around or, Yeah. So you're just making a story up in your head and connecting dots that don't connect.
They're not.
No.
Dotting. McDonald testified that the intent was to detain Keith until deputies arrived.
Weird way to detain.
How about you just go let the sheriff do the detecting thing?
Yeah.
Big word.
Well, and when the police detain you, are they doing that? No, they're not. And it doesn't sound like they would have. He wasn't trying to get away. He was resigned to what he thought the outcome was going to be, which was him dying. So I don't think there was any need to do that.
Joe Brownson testified that after becoming concerned, he left to summon the authorities, and he returned to find Keith with a rope around his neck. He's like, whoa, I just feel like...
Well, and for him to even be surprised, that means that what they were doing is wrong. Like, they were all on this mission to get him, so they were on the same page at one point, and then he comes back and he's like, oh, not like that.
Whoa.
Hey.
Not a good look,
Bro. When did we decide we were doing that? I wasn't part of this plan.
Deputy J... Oh, my God. I'm just going to leave it at Deputy J testified that he arrived at the scene and found Keith with a rope looped around his neck, strung over that tree branch. After hearing the testimony, Hardin ruled that while the defendants did not intend to kill or seriously injure Keith, placing a rope around a person's neck constituted an unlawful threat.
I feel like, yes. That's like placing a gun directly onto someone's head, point blank.
I just was waiting.
I wasn't trying to kill you.
Just waiting for the cops to show up.
Yeah.
He said the presence of the rope created a well-founded fear of imminent violence.
Yeah.
He ordered McDonald and Sanchez bound over for trial in First District Court.
Okay, we're moving.
Here we go. We're getting somewhere. Defense attorneys said they would file motions challenging the ruling, of course.
Well,
How
because
could you even defend?
it worked for them twice, though. They're like, they probably thought that they were really great at their jobs. They're like, damn, we were able to get these guys case dismissed. You must be good lawyers. No, I don't think so.
I think the magistrate was off his rocker.
Something was going on there.
Prosecutors said the decision allowed the case to finally move forward. Like, let's go somewhere. For the first time since April, the case advanced without being dismissed or being postponed.
Okay.
Keith was where he was supposed to be. We got a magistrate that's like, yeah, you can't do this.
Good.
Okay,
That's where we need to go.
We're getting somewhere. As the aggravated assault case continued into the summer of 1984, court proceedings were repeatedly delayed because Keith failed to appear more for scheduled hearings.
I know. And like he said, how his parents were probably frustrated. It's not just that he's all over the country and, getting himself into predicaments. They're like, son, we've got this trial stuff. Hello. And he's like, I want to go to Wyoming.
I want to go have lunch in Wyoming.
Yeah. I'll call you when I need some cash.
Prosecutors and defense attorneys agreed to continuances while authorities attempted to locate Keith.
Okay.
So at least it's not completely thrown out. But Keith, we need to be working
Come on, bud.
this. Come on. This is fucking, we got to get these guys, okay? Can't do it without your help.
He's like, I'm kind of over it.
No, fine.
Well, I mean, he's like, I didn't die. I'm feeling great.
But did you die?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, I thought I was a goner and I'm wanting to live my life.
I'm going to go have lunch in Yakima. Thank you. There's this great diner I heard about.
Yeah. Mom, can I have some money?
I found a note.
Oh my God.
Sorry. Law enforcement agencies issued bulletins to surrounding states again asking for assistance because
they know someone's going to encounter Keith.
Yeah, but for those of you that don't know, the very tip of Idaho is very thin. So we're talking you can get to another state in pretty short order.
Yeah, just a quick jig jog.
I mean, Coeur d'Alene.
He could be in Canada.
And it's also very close to Canada. What is it, like a 20-minute drive from Spokane to...
Yeah.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene or something like
just
that. Boop, 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 boop. So it's right there. And then you can go, so that's Washington. You can go really quick the other way. Go over to Wyoming. Go have some lunch there. Little day trip.
Tri-state day.
Yeah.
It's easily doable.
And yeah, jet up to Canada in a few hours. So let's go.
Let's take this international.
So that's why they're like, hey, yo,
You guys
neighbors,
help us out.
Washington, Wyoming, yo, Canada. If you see this guy walking around and is unable to pay for his meals, that's our guy.
Yeah, just go ahead and let us
That's
know.
our guy. As Keith continued to move between his parents' home, hospitals, and wherever he frankly wanted to fucking go, prosecutors warned that further delays could not continue indefinitely. Like, this has to stop.
Yeah,
at
the
some point.
defense is going to eventually be like,
Go fuck it.
we don't have to, compromise about this much longer.
And Deputy Prosecutor Peter Erdlin told the court that, again, they're going to proceed with or without Keith's testimony.
They're trying their best.
They said, whether he's here or not, we're going. So here we are. Keith appeared and testified.
Got him back. There we go, Keith.
He described being picked up along the road, taken to the wooden area, let off the road. He testified about the rope being placed over his neck, over the tree branch,
So traumatic.
and he thought he was going to die. And he also, again, testified about giving him the money.
Yeah.
Please, just make it quick.
And let me just tell you, if I, for some misguided reason, decided to snatch someone up like this, and then I was not intending to kill them, and they start saying, please take my wallet, but just shoot me quickly. I don't want to be hung. Just shoot me instead. I'd be like, whoa, hey, no, I wasn't going to do that. Hey, buddy, calm down. We're not going to kill you. We just we just got to hold you here for the cops. Just settle down.
Chill.
Wouldn't you? Like, okay, no, we're on the wrong page here. I'm not killing you, man. But I don't think that happened. So their whole, we just intended to restrain him. Yeah, if someone is praying to God their last words and begging for me to kill them nicely, so something got lost in communication here.
Yeah. He has a well-founded fear. Thank you. Yeah. Well-founded. Jesus. Deputy J testified when he arrived at the scene, so this is a big deal, that he saw the rope around the neck, over the tree branch, and that Keith appeared to be on his tiptoes. Mm-hmm. You know what the defense did. Was he really on his tiptoes, or was he on? No, listen. Deputy J also testified that the ground in that area was sloped. So walking upon it, you could maybe assume that he was on his tiptoes.
I hate when they do this splitting hairs shit.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you maybe hypothetically? And it's like, well, anyone could maybe hypothetically anything. But if he's a police officer, I feel like, you know, he knows how to be a witness. He should anyway. And oh my gosh.
The defense attorneys argued that the men had acted as concerned citizens and had summoned law enforcement. They argued that the evidence did not support an intent to harm.
And this has worked for them. This is why they're doing it again.
And that Keith's fear was not well-founded under the law. Okay, we've established, Steph, we're right, they're wrong. We've established this. Prosecutors argued that intent to harm was not required under the aggravated assault statute and that the conduct itself created a reasonable fear of violence.
You think? Gosh, it's so... This is just so disappointing that this even had to happen in a court of law to be like, I feel like the Cardi B meme, like, look, how do you know she's bigger than you? And she's like, I mean, look.
Like, this is
I'm using my eyeballs.
this is a stupid question.
Yes. Man, Cardi B needed to be in this case. She'd have been like, are we serious?
Oh, that'd be a great testimony.
Oh, yeah.
After hearing testimony, Hardin issued his ruling from the bench. He said the evidence showed that McDonald and Sanchez did not intend to kill or seriously injure Keith and that they intended to detain him until deputies arrived.
I'm sick of this shit. Are we in the fucking Twilight Zone?
He said the evidence showed that deputies had been summoned and that Keith had been given a jacket when he became cold.
So you can string someone up, just make sure you give them a jacket and it's not illegal. Wow, this is big news for all my enemies and exes because I'm just going to be, I guess I can just do the deeply seated things that I know are wrong and it's fine. We have a precedent set 3 times now, 3 times precedent. But did you die? It is essentially, this is big news. Watch out, everyone.
Hardin also ruled that placing a rope around a person's neck constituted an unlawful threat. We're getting somewhere. A
crumb we've received.
He said the presence of the rope around the neck created a well-founded fear in any reasonable person that violence was imminent.
Thank you. Wow. I can't believe that we're begging and having to applaud this tiny crumb of accountability.
He ruled that it was more likely than not that aggravated assault had been committed as charged.
All right. So I thought he was saying that no, there wasn't.
No. He was saying that the evidence showed that they didn't intend to kill or seriously injure Keith. They intended to detain him.
So even though they're saying that's their intent, that sure, maybe your intent wasn't that, but this episode brought to you by Garage Door and Little White Dog. So taking all this in, it sounds like he recognized that maybe your intent wasn't to harm or kill him, but When you put a rope over someone's
It's
neck,
unlawful.
it doesn't really matter if that's your intent, which is a good point because, they say, my intent wasn't to hurt your feelings. That's great. I'm glad that it wasn't your intent, but you still did hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah.
The outcome was still that. So I feel like, okay, now I get what he's saying. And thank you for acknowledging that you cannot be doing that.
So Magistrate Hardin ordered McDonald and Sanchez bound over for trial.
Okay.
These have all been preliminary hearings. We've had Keith missing, coming, going, coming, hearing, judge, or wait, magistrate.
Right, I know.
So it's been a shit show. But we're
getting there.
to the trial. But following that ruling, defense attorney Eugene Morano said he would file motions challenging the court's interpretations of intent. Jesus Christ, give it up.
I cannot believe this, but I mean, they've been rewarded for their efforts that I think are shitty in the first place. So why wouldn't you?
Prosecutor said that ruling supported the state's position. They're like, we're getting somewhere. Let's go to trial. Both defendants were scheduled for arraignment. Joseph Sanchez entered a plea of not guilty to the aggravated assault charge. Roger McDonald later entered his not guilty plea. And Judge Richard Magnuson, I think I got that right, consolidated the cases. Names are so hard for me. I like
Because you never know. And you want it to be accurate, but sometimes there's not a lot to go on.
So the trial starts in late February of 1985. We got judges now, Richard Magnuson. Jury selection took several days with prospective jurors questioned about their exposure to the publicity surrounding the case and their views on mental illness and citizen's arrest. And this is in the 80s when a mental illness was not recognized.
And that people viewed it almost as a character defect.
Yeah.
Like you're a bad
it was
person.
A lot different in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
It is now. Nobody, yeah. Yeah, it was bad. Before the testimony began, a jury of 7 women and 5 men were finally selected. Before testimony began, defense attorneys again challenged Keith's credibility and requested that he undergo psychiatric evaluation.
To say how he felt, I think anyone is pretty capable of that.
Eugene Morano argued that Keith's diagnosis of schizophrenia raised questions about his ability to distinguish reality from fantasy. I hate this. Prosecutors opposed the request. Magnuson denied the motion, ruling that there was nothing in the record to suggest Keith was unable to perceive events or relate them in court. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Even though he might be mentally ill, he still felt
and
what
his
he
story
felt.
hasn't changed. No. He's had to do it a few times. And probably, this is just the times in court.
Right.
Talking with the prosecutor, talking with, anyone knows if you have something happen to you, no matter what it is that you might need to press charges, you have to tell your story at least 5 to 10 times just on that initial day. You have to tell this person. They're going to ask you again.
Courts. And, yeah.
Yeah, wild.
In opening statements, Chief Deputy Prosecutor Peter Erblin told jurors that the case was not about Keith's mental illness. It's not. Or the note. It's not.
Because it's not. You cannot justify this shit with a note. Who knows who wrote the note? Were they ever able to even prove that he wrote it? I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm sure they would have said it if they were able to handwriting analysis prove.
Oh, there was no handwriting analysis.
So you don't even know who the hell left that note. It's like finding a fucking gum wrapper on the ground and being like, I know that Dani is a litter bug. Let's go find her and string her up. This had to have come from Dani. What the fuck is this shit?
So it's not about his mental illness or the note, but it's about what actually occurred in the woods on East Point Road. Yes, it is. He said the evidence would show that Keith had been held at gunpoint and he had a rope placed around his neck, creating a well-founded fear of imminent violence. Yes.
I think that is a very realistic thing to think if that was to happen to anyone.
Erblin told the jury there was a crime committed here, but it wasn't by Keith Gilmore.
Yeah.
Keith stood in the woods of North Idaho with a rope around his neck and a man holding a gun on him, and he was in fear.
But hang on, Danny. They gave him a jacket, though, so that erases. It cancels out. PEMDAS. Fuck.
Defense attorney John Lester argued that fear existed on all sides. Dude, you were in a bar. Okay.
You are going after someone. If you're afraid of someone, you're not going to approach them yourself. That's when you might follow them from a distance. If I'm scared of someone, I'm not telling them to get in my truck. Thank you. I'm getting pissed, Danny. Fucking, this is just, it feels so weird. This is one of those times where it feels like, am I drinking crazy juice? Are we talking about the same fucking thing here? I don't know. I could not be a lawyer in this case because I'd be like, Judge, excuse me, pardon, the fuck? Objection, the fuck? That's my grounds for my objection. The fuck?
I'm so pleased with myself picking the story for you right now.
Danny does. She really is great at picking stories. But yeah, I would, as a lawyer trying to be professional, I don't know how the Cardi B in me wouldn't be coming out and be like, hello? We are in the Twilight Zone.
He said defendants had summoned law enforcement and that Keith was never in danger of being harmed.
I feel safest when a rope is around my neck and a gun is pointed at me. I feel double safe. I know the people that are holding me are armed and will keep other random people from hurting me because they have me restrained and to protect me with my jacket. Fuck.
He said the tree branch could not support a person's weight and that deputies were already on the way.
I don't think that matters in the moment. But anyway, I'm going to spiral more, so you just got to keep going.
So Keith testified how he'd been walking along the road when he was picked up, taken to East Point Road, and led into the woods. And he testified how the rope was placed around his neck and drawn tight. And he testified he believed he was going to die.
Yeah.
Joe Bronson testified again. He said that he had seen Keith walking along the road near where children were fishing and had found that note after Keith had passed through. Must be Keith. It was Keith. Because, listen.
I feel like these guys must have been on a little meth or something too. This is just so paranoid to be like, found a note. There was a man walking. Must have been his. He must be a child. Like, the jumping to conclusions, we are sprinting to these conclusions, and jumping on a pogo stick to them. What the fuck?
Under cross-examination, though, he acknowledged that Keith had not made any physical or verbal threats to anybody.
Yeah. Almost as if he's not out there hurting people.
We got the ladies are going to testify now. Are you ready?
Okay, I am. Okay. I am.
Linda Brownson testified that Keith's appearance frightened her. She testified that he was not wearing a shirt in cold weather and appeared unkempt. Patricia McDonald testified that Keith's appearance frightened her as well.
And this is their wives or something?
Yes.
Of course they're going to say this.
The look on his face scared me, she testified. There was a crazed look about him, like I couldn't trust what his next move would be.
But he never got a chance to make any move. So who gives a fuck? And if you're that scared, you and your husbands go the fuck away from him. Oh my God.
So McDonald said that placing a rope around Keith's neck reflected poor judgment.
You think?
He testified that Keith acted strangely during the ride and gave inconsistent answers about where he was going. He said, quote, I had never seen anybody like him, he testified. He described Keith as a wild-looking man. Sir, it's because you live in northern Idaho in 1984.
Y'all are so paranoid. Like, this is just incredible. And I just have to touch on this as well. The whole we wanted to restrain. Anything that you watch, a movie, a cops episode, just seeing how police restrain people or someone restrains someone who is a threat. A rope around the neck, I don't know that I've ever seen that be the primary and first line of tying his hands and feet. Maybe I could even understand that of you're not going anywhere. You're waiting here until the police get here. Why in the fuck you went to noose And I don't know if it was an actual noose knot.
Let me
Doesn't
just
really
touch
matter.
on that.
Okay.
It was not an actual noose. It was something more like a roping rope.
Sure. Okay.
So it had like a slip knot in it. Because, yeah. No,
But
these
in
guys
the
were driving around with it. Not that it makes any difference, but they weren't driving around with a literal noose in their truck. He had a rope. It was probably a towing rope, is actually probably what it was.
Well, and in the moment, though, I don't think it would matter to me if I was Keith if it was an actual noose knot or not.
Oh, no.
Because they're going to find a way to kill me.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so crazy.
The defense called Dr. Roy Ellen, a clinical psychologist who testified about schizophrenia. He testified that people with long-term schizophrenia could suffer from distorted thinking and perceptions and would truly never be normal. Under cross-examination, the doctor acknowledged that a person with schizophrenia could still perceive fearful situations.
Yeah.
Just because they're mentally ill doesn't mean they don't feel fear.
Or don't recognize it. Yeah.
Listen to this judge. Judge Magnuson questioned the doctor and made it very clear and established that this doctor had not examined Keith.
Is that even normal for a judge to be doing that? Because isn't it like the prosecution's or defense's job to point that out?
I think he was trying to avoid another, like a mistrial or something.
Maybe.
Right?
Okay.
So, no, normally they're not. I don't.
Okay. Yeah,
But-
you don't usually hear that.
In closing arguments, Morano urged jurors to consider the defendant's intent and their belief that they were protecting children. Don't give a fuck. You can believe that, you're protecting a little weird creature that doesn't exist. You still cannot go and detain somebody.
No. And when there isn't even any proof of what he was doing, like, I can't just go hit someone with my car because I think they're going to touch kids later. I can't do that. Now, it might be different. A judge or a jury might see it differently if maybe I had all this proof and saw someone going after a kid and decided, I'm going to hit him with my car. Hit him with your car. Remember that song? I loved that. But yeah, this is just, it's crazy that we have to say this type of stuff.
The defense attorney also told jurors that a conviction would brand McDonald and Sanchez as felons for actions they believed were justified.
Doesn't matter if you believe something's justified. Oh my God. Like, why do we have to say this shit?
Erdlin argued that the defendants had acted as self-appointed judges and that the law did not permit citizens to place a rope around another person's neck. He said an acquittal would send a message that such conduct was acceptable.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
After receiving the case late in the afternoon, the jury deliberated for approximately 4 hours.
They put some thought into it.
We've seen murder cases with less.
Yeah. No, so I'm glad that they did because clearly the defense's strategy has worked several times. So they're weighing it all out. Okay.
At 8:40 p.m., the jurors returned verdicts finding McDonald and Sanchez guilty of aggravated assault. Sentencing was scheduled for April 25th.
So we're almost at the year mark, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roger McDonald. So we're at the sentencing hearing. Roger McDonald, then 45, and Joseph Sanchez, then 33, returned to court following their convictions for the aggravated assault. A pre-sentence investigation had been completed and reviewed by the court. Magnuson sentenced both men to 3 years in the Idaho State Penitentiary, but suspended the prison terms.
So at first I was like 3 years, that's really little. But I mean, we've seen second degree murder get basically 5 years in like other states and other circumstances. So I'm like, okay, 3 years can still teach them a lesson, but suspending the sentences.
Yeah, he placed each man on 3 years probation and ordered them to complete 100 hours of community service.
If you get 3 years, you're probably going to be out in a year and a half or less on good behavior.
But they're not even going to go to jail, Steph.
I know, but like, why wouldn't you not suspend the sentence? Give them the 3 years. If they're good, they'll be out in maybe a year.
Yeah.
no jail time for this. Again,
Zilch.
again, terrible news for my enemies. Even if you're guilty, still, I can do some community service.
I could do 3 years.
I could do
probation.
probation. Absolutely, I could.
Before imposing the sentence, Magnuson said the defendants had jumped to conclusions and acted illegally, but were not attempting to carry out vigilante justice.
I don't know what else you call that behavior.
He said the evidence supported the conclusion that the men intended to detain Keith until deputies arrived. I don't think this is not a matter. I don't think they're really going to kill Keith. I do think they were trying to detain him. They had no reason to detain him. And you surely cannot point a gun at somebody and put a rope around their neck to detain somebody.
And I think they were trying to scare him into saying something because they thought they were interrogating him. They thought that they were going to get him to admit to something and that they were trying to almost like torture in an interrogation. Sure, maybe I can believe that they weren't going to kill a man that day, but restraining someone, no one restrains someone like that.
Keith didn't know he wasn't going to die that day.
No.
So the judge said the rope and the manner in which it was used represents something in the nature of a very ugly symbol.
Yup.
The fact of a rope being around a man's neck made it difficult to keep this case in perspective.
Okay, sure.
He still let him off. To me, that's letting him off.
Yeah.
Magnuson said media coverage had contributed to the public characterization of the incident as an attempted lynching. He said that if the defendants had intended to lynch or punish Keith, it would have been accomplished before law enforcement arrived. Yes, but you cannot just go snatching people on the fucking streets.
Well, and why didn't you just tie him to a tree? If that's because they had a gun anyway. They didn't need to do any of this anyway. But tie him to the tree.
Why don't
Sure.
you just put the ropes around us? Actually, how about you just go back to the bar and keep drinking your beers?
Yeah, and talking about, well, if I saw someone hurt a kid, why I oughta, instead of actually getting all, I cannot believe that these guys together were like, we're gonna do this. It's like, it's just pathetic.
How many pictures were they in? I'm just going to say. Defense attorney John Lester criticized the Kootenai County Prosecutor's Office and Sheriff's Department for handling of this case.
The judge did?
No, the defense attorney.
Oh, okay.
He's like, you guys did a horrible job. Shut up. He said rural residents should not have to wait extended periods for deputies to arrive.
Then take him to the police station.
And he said the delay had contributed to the situation.
Oh, now it's the police's fault.
He also criticized the initial law enforcement report that characterized the incident as an attempted homicide, saying it placed the case on the wrong track from the beginning.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
They literally put a rope over, not just, they probably could have just been, if I'm not saying this is okay, they could have put a rope around his neck and just held him.
Yeah. Like you're not going anywhere.
You don't have to
buddy.
throw it over a tree branch.
Yeah. And then, I can even, it's crazy that I can even be okay with that. But this was literally the worst fucking idea.
So Sanchez said that of himself and McDonald, they were just two concerned citizens that got tangled up with a law they don't even understand and with the press.
Shut the fuck up.
Again, defense attorneys, Eugene Morano was holding the newspaper clippings and said this case would not have progressed as far as it did without media coverage designed to sell newspapers or turn the flavor of the community against these people.
I don't think it would have gotten as much attention if the first judge would have just been like, yeah, you can't be snatching people up. Because now, of course, people are going to be talking about it like, so someone can come snatch me and do that to me?
Yeah. He also said the pre-sentence investigation showed Keith had not suffered long-term effects from the incident. Really, do you know that? I mean, it's only been a year.
Well, and how can you... You're not a psychiatrist or...
No. And Keith might not even realize, look, you can have a traumatic event and not even have it come up and boil up until
you're triggered by something.
Yeah.
Imagine the next time someone just walks up to him on the street and asks him a question. Hey, where are you going? Oh, shit. Am I in trouble?
Right. So shut. That doesn't even count. It's been less
How
than
can
a
you
year.
say that as a fact? Yeah, shut up.
Prosecuting attorney Bob Burton responded that the defense attorneys were attempting to place blame on everyone except their
Exactly.
client.
It's the cop's fault. Cookie's fault.
He shouldn't have even been walking their road.
Well, and if the cops would have got there to this remote location that they purposely drove him to,
None of this would have happened.
again, I know that you guys are saying this too, so I hope I'm not repeating it too much, but this is just absolute insanity.
The prosecutor also said no attention has been drawn to the defendants in this case, who are really at fault. Burton said Keith had been frightened by the gun trained on him and by the rope placed around his neck.
But the jacket should have canceled that out, sure.
He said, quote, they would have you believe there's nothing wrong with that, he said. But society certainly believes that it is wrong. Because it is.
Yeah, no one wants to get snatched up.
This was vigilante justice in the sense that people think that they can take the law into their own hands, Burton said. It may have been tolerated in 1885, but certainly it cannot be tolerated in 1985.
Boom, burn. Clock it.
Burton argued for at least a 90-day jail sentence, saying that the failure to impose incarceration would send a message that such behavior was acceptable.
Exactly.
Magnuson said he would have preferred to impose some jail time, but said it was not possible to arrange around the defendants' work schedules.
It's me punching the mic and trying not to really punch it because we paid money for these and I don't want to really wreck it, but I wanted to punch something and it's like a little punching bag in front of me. It didn't work with their schedules, guys. What are they supposed to do? Their boss wasn't cool with it. That's kind of the nature of having a consequence. Sometimes and I agree, like, not even 3 months, not even 1 month.
Nothing? They can't spend some weekends in jail?
Yeah,
They're working 24/7. That's it.
That must be, wow, these hardworking men that were just trying to watch out for the children.
Poor Keith. Poor Mr. and Mrs. Gilmore, can I just say.
Oh, and them pursuing the, for what?
It was so, because they had only lived here like 4 or 5 months, and they're like, I
in this town we just snatch people up?
They're like, we don't even want to live here anymore.
I wouldn't.
They were probably retirement age, right? Because he was in his 30s. They're probably retirement age. Let's take our pensions from California and move to Northern Idaho, where we're going to get so much bang for our buck and stretch our money in retirement.
Beautiful and gorgeous.
We can go fishing. Let's buy a boat.
Who doesn't love a small town? And then they're like, this is the type of small town that we're in.
Yeah, they didn't even want to live there anymore. Anyway.
Wow.
McDonald Sanchez. Well, I just want to lay blame. Look, who didn't get brought up here? Mrs. Brownson. You know you were a fucking dramatic cunt about the whole thing.
Oh, I was terrified. Honey, save me. It's like the white woman tear thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and then to go to the bar and then wrap up some dudes that have been fucking drinking.
But, getting people riled up over the I felt he had a bad presence.
I had never seen anyone like him before. It's because you lived in Northern Idaho in 1985.
And yeah, you never saw a weird person before. Get the fuck over it. If someone's not actively doing something, mind your business. Mind your fucking business. That would save so many people. Like these guys, they didn't mind their business and they thought they were going to be vigilantes and be the hero and their wives are going to be so impressed with them.
Now they're convicted felons.
I'm taking care of it, honey.
Don't you worry.
I'm going to get that man because how dare he look weird to you.
And I have a gun.
And we've got a rope. And we know exactly what to do with it. Because how you restrain someone is you act like you're going to hang them.
I enjoyed
dead, yeah.
You know what's fun about this? Nobody actually died.
Yes, which thankfully.
And look, let me just tell you, Keith's a good guy. Because he said...
He's just a little off.
He said after sentencing, he said he believed the punishment was fair. He said some people just don't understand what constitutes a crime.
How very generous of him. And, he is right. Sure, people don't understand what constitutes the crime. I love that he has that outlook. And I feel like it even better portrays his true character. Like, yeah, he's a strange guy, has some weird habits, looks a little unkempt. For him, the victim in this, to be like, no jail time and think that it's fair. Like I said, I think that he kind of moved on, and maybe he wouldn't
I
know.
really do think that was kind of it. Like
He wouldn't know the trauma or triggers that are going to come, but he's like, I'm okay. I'm still going out to eat and tri-state area. Like, I love my life.
I was thinking about hitting Nevada next, maybe some more.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, can I have some cash? But yeah, anyway, I loved this story.
I was so excited. I'm like, I'm going to tell you a story and nobody dies.
I know. And Dani, she's like, listen, nobody dies, but it's so good. And it's still crime related.
Yeah.
And so I've enjoyed this one quite a bit. And it's more lighthearted because no one dies.
That's why it was kind of fun
And
for me to
so
do. It was fun for me to do something that was
refreshing.
I mean, unfortunately, it's not a good thing for Keith, right? It sucked. But then we had vigilante justice and
judges being like, yeah, there's no crime here.
and of course, I'm all about the
Court stuff. Yeah.
the court stuff. And I'm like,
It's
how is this
interesting.
even fucking possible? And then we get to the end and we can't just really no jail time because we just can't work it around their work schedules.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're not CEOs of some big company or some big nonprofit where they couldn't live without him for 90 days. But yeah.
Or if so, find another job. That's a consequence.
That is.
If you have to go to jail for committing a crime, your work's not obligated to hold your job.
And most likely they won't.
And that's
a call to consequence.
and you cannot tell me that they couldn't do a weekend jail thing. Because even though I think that is shitty, like I've had friends that have had to do that, and it still is a consequence though.
Yeah.
At least you're still having to see the reality of, and I think it's a good wake-up call. This could be my life. If I do that same crime again,
Every day.
I could be here for years and not get to just clock in for the weekend and clock out on Monday and live my regular life. So even that would have been, I think, a crumb of justice. So I'm disappointed that didn't happen, but I'll try to keep Keith's outlook and say some people are just ignorant to the law, which sure, I thought that would be common sense to not try to lynch someone, but here we are. Good one, Dani. Really good one. I know I was very upset, but these are the ones that I like because they're so interesting.
Like, follow,
Subscribe. Go listen to if you didn't get to see the first 20 or so episodes, they're there for you. How exciting.
Look how magical we are.
Oh gosh, I'm saying it would be a dream for some of my favorite podcasts to drop like a vault of 20 episodes. Oh, that would be so nice. So hopefully some of you out there get to benefit from that. We love ya. Word of mouth, it means the most. So tell your friends. We hope that you're enjoying it. And if you want to reach out, email thelethalibrary@gmail.com. All right, 10-4, rubber ducky.
Fuck yeah.